So welcome, my name is Kelly Wallace. Thank you for joining us for our CWBN roundtable discussion. And we are so pleased today to celebrate Women's History Month with two of our local leaders, Crystal Roberts and Dr. Marilyn Pearson. Just a quick introduction of our guests here. Crystal Roberts, it has a 30-year communication career history that started as a daily newspaper reporter and has transitioned into public relations. She currently is the Chief of Equity, Information, and Student Services for Johnston County Public Schools. She has also served as the Chief of Communication Engagement and Public Information Officer for Johnston County Public Schools. She is a former, the 2015 chairman of the board of directors for the Smithfield-Selma Chamber of Commerce. She has 3 sons and a grandbaby that she spoils rotten. And lastly, she is our 2016 ATHENA Leadership Award recipient. So we're super excited to have Crystal here. And Dr. Marilyn Pearson is the Director of Public Health for Johnston County. She has been the director since 2005, but she has been a supervisor for the agency and since 1998. So she's been around for a long time in our community, and she's been working really hard, especially this last year and a half. She serves the community in Project Access and is also on the board for Johnston County Partnership for Children. She was named the North Carolina Health Director of the Year in 2015. And in 2014, she was the Johnston County, honored by the Johnston County branch of the NAACP as with its Trumpet of Conscience Legacy Award. She is also our 2020 ATHENA Leadership Award recipient. So we are really excited to have both of you with us today. And our chamber has been sponsoring the ATHENA Leadership Award for over 30 years. And we wanted to kick it off by featuring the two of you to talk about what those characteristics, how the characteristics of the ATHENA leadership model play out in your styles. And just real quickly, there are 8 characteristics or principles for this model: living authentically, learning constantly, building relationships, fostering collaboration, acting courageously, advocating fiercely, giving back, and celebrating. So those are the 8 principles of the ATHENA leadership model. And we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about that. Deanna Clark with Beverage Destruction Services is the office manager there. She's been there for 3 years, and she is an active part of our CWBN committee, and she is going to lead our conversations there today. But I also want to introduce Melissa Overton. She's also been a huge supporter of CWBN and our ATHENA Leadership Award celebrations. She is with medicaltraining.me. So thank you very much for being with us, Deanna.
So we're going to start with the living authentically and learning constantly. If y'all could just share a little bit on those values.
That is one of my favorite characteristics, because I do believe that living authentically helps you sleep at night. You don't have to worry about, how you've carried yourself through the day and presented yourself to the world, because you presented yourself authentically. And it's a heady thing to be honored with ATHENA, as an ATHENA recipient, because these are things that I'm sure Dr. Pearson and I just do naturally. It's something that I know that I don't think twice about it. It's just the way that I've been raised, that people deserve the real you. So that's my thought about it.
Dr. Pearson?
Yeah, and I would say the same thing. Particularly, I'm in so many different circles with so many different types of people. I don't have time to be fake. Because I can't remember. I wouldn't remember what I did when I saw them, when I came back to them. So it's so much easier to be who I am and present myself as I am. And I think because I have done that, it's allowed me to be invited to other circles because they know I'm true to myself and I'm true to those that I work with. And I will always say what I believe. So I think that is, a great quality that we should all have.
I agree with that. That's awesome. What about building relationships?
Extremely important. My background in communications was just kind of an extension to my joy that I associate with getting to know people, asking questions, not having the thought of, kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm looking for looking at someone and stereotyping them or coming up with, my thoughts about them before getting to know them. I've always ascribed to just building relationships so that we can expand our horizons.
Dr. Pearson.
Yeah, and I would say, getting to know people and build relationships allows me to utilize their skill sets. I don't know everything, and I don't have all the skills that some others may have. So me having a relationship, for example, with a business owner or with a farm workers group or et cetera, they have skill sets and connections that I do not have. And so it's really important to have all of those different type of relationships so that you can expand your reach.
What about fostering collaboration, Dr. Pearson?
Yeah, and that's similar and along the same lines. And if this pandemic has taught me anything, it's that collaboration with multiple partners and people has been very important. So, we're working with community members, churches, our schools, our volunteers. And I think as long as everyone has the same goal, if we all put that big goal at the top and understand, our goal is to get people vaccinated and keep them healthy, then we can all come together and collaborate to achieve that goal.
And I'll just piggyback on that by saying it just makes you a better person when you foster collaborative, the spirit of collaboration. If your mind is open to a diversity of thought, then whatever you're working on will be better for it. And Dr. Pearson is in the medical field. I'm in the education field, although I'm not a teacher, but I have been working in communications and public relations since 1988. And so having that agenda of ensuring and trying to ensure that all of our students are educated well and holistically is the overarching goal. And you can't do that alone, to Dr. Pearson's point. You cannot do that alone. And so you have to have an open mind so that all that you bring to the table will actually bolster that particular agenda or that goal that you have. So it makes us better.
I just want to step in. You guys are like hitting that dead on. And I think that also that it sets up the next success. Because as we're building these relationships and these collaborations, then to your point of expanding your network and expanding your mind, then when the next project comes along the way, your span of reach is so much more. And that's part of the reason that I'm here today listening to you guys and supporting you, is because I think you guys both do an excellent job of really making that happen and being authentic. And I love whoever said, people deserve the real you. Good stuff. Had to jump in on that. Got so excited.
Anytime, Melissa, you know that. Acting courageously and advocating fiercely.
So, again, I can remember, I'll just tell a story to kind of illustrate my point about acting courageously and how it's not something that is hard for me to do. I remember a friend of mine calling and saying, I'm so proud of you. You have a small group of sister friends who, just are always, you don't have to pay them. They're always going to pat you on the back and say, good job, even if you did nothing. But at any rate, she called and, was giving me an attaboy. And I said, I really didn't have a choice. And she said, Crystal, yes, you did. You could have done nothing. And I hadn't thought about it that way. I think that in order for me to leave things better than I found them, that I have to push the envelope, that I have to step out of my comfort zone, that I have to, that I have to be courageous. And it may not feel good at the time. Courage is not always comfortable. Well, it's never comfortable. Even when you are, I think we're all moms here. Even when, as Mama Bear, you act on their behalf, it's not necessarily comfortable, but it's the right thing to do. And that's what overtakes the discomfort, is that, deep down in your soul that stepping out of your box and being courageous is the right thing to do. And that goes hand in hand with advocating fiercely, goes hand in hand. So as a member of the education community, I feel that I advocate fiercely for education for all students. And that is what I have my sights set on, and I'm driven toward that, regardless of any negative or naysaying, comments that I may hear, because I know that it's going to make a difference.
And I so agree with all of that. I think in my field, it's really important. I utilize my background, a lot of where I come from, to advocate for those who don't have a voice. So I am in rooms where there are so many people who are like me when I was a child or younger, who can't say what I can say. And so coming from where I came from, we didn't have much. As I said, I graduated from a school system that was all Black, one of the at least rated lowest in the state of South Carolina when I was there. So I come from a place where I have lived, where some of these people are. And so for me, using my voice in these rooms, I speak for them. And so that's important to me. And, I'm at a place where now I do have a little bit of power and can make some changes for those people. So I think, just as you said, living authentically, that's one of the things I do. But that also helps me to advocate for those people who don't have a voice.
And giving back and celebrating. I'm sure that y'all do that every day, but can you just share a story, Dr. Pearson?
Well, I try to do lots, particularly with young people. I try to participate in all of the things at their schools, et cetera, and community events. Right now, we have a community track club. I'm actually chair of the board, and I volunteer with that club as their medical person and assist with some coaching. So me being in being able to touch kids in that way, I think makes a big difference, particularly kids of color, because they can see me not as just a physician, but as a person doing things in our community and giving back, and how important that is to me. So I try to make a difference that way, but also with friends that I have, and encouraging them, to give back to the community. Many people feel like they don't have much to give and don't realize that all it takes is just being there sometimes. So I try to encourage people to do that too.
Crystal?
And giving back is very important for me, and it takes different forms at different times. I've called myself a self-professed, community advocate, because this is, I live in this community. And so why would I not advocate, but also speak out when there are situations that are being overlooked, or people who are being overlooked. If I am aware of it, then I know how to utilize my influence and the relationships that I have in a good way to bring people to awareness about it. I truly enjoy one-on-one assistance. If a young person or their parent calls me and says, can you help this person, this young person with their resume or getting prepared for an interview? I absolutely love spending time with them and getting to know them and helping them to walk away from that interaction that we've had feeling like they can do anything. So that's the way I want them to feel. I want them to feel that they are perfectly capable, and I want to show them and emulate the fact that because you are a growing leader, or a leader even in your peer group, you too should give back, do the same. So I really want to be a role model in that respect.
Very neat. So I have a question. With the pandemic and everybody being discouraged and all of that, when you deal with somebody frustrated, like, how do you handle that?
Ooh. Now, Dr. Pearson's my shiro as far as that's concerned, because her countenance and her demeanor is so calm, because the pandemic has been a political football, but we know that, when you listen to the science, you can get through this. But at any rate, the way that I've been able to handle it is to try to ensure that I am informed, that I am having conversations, or that I open my door, make myself accessible to having conversations so that I understand where people are coming from. I may or may not understand a person's plight, and it is my job, I think, my obligation to find out what that is. So I have to convince myself as well that things are going to be okay, but here are the things that I can do in order to forge ahead. And I always, take that Annie song, the sun will come out tomorrow. Tomorrow is another day. So do all that you can in this day so that when you lay down at night, you can sleep well, perhaps. I'm 57, so you all may or may not know what that's about. I think I'm probably the oldest rat in the barn this morning on this. But at any rate, I wake up all through the night right now. But at any rate, I do sleep well on the actions that I take during the night. And then tomorrow's another day. Pick it up and run with that baton again.
Dr. Pearson, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, as Crystal said, this pandemic has taught, I think, all of us a lot of things. And people have lots of questions. People get frustrated. People have different beliefs. But I try to listen, and I listen to them and accept their point of view. I mean, everybody's going to have their own beliefs and their points of view. And all you can do is accept that and provide the information that you get. Just as she said, I provide the science, and they're going to accept or believe what they want to believe. But I always tell them, you know, my goal, I'm the public health director. My goal is to keep you healthy, keep our community as healthy as possible. And I'm always going to make recommendations and suggestions that will do that. So, you know, we've had business owners, we've had a whole lot of people who don't want to follow protocols, et cetera. And all I can do is try to encourage them to do that. Many of them and most of them are doing that. But there are those who feel like they need to be independent. And what I try to do is encourage them to think about not just themselves, but the others that they're affecting. And so in all decisions that I make, that's what I do. And I try to tell them as leaders, those are the things that they should be thinking about also.
Kelly, Melissa, do y'all have anything y'all want to add or ask?
I just want to say thank you to both of you on behalf of our business community, the Triangle East Chamber of Commerce. You both have exemplified all of these characteristics in our partnership and collaborating with our business community to help our schools, to help our business community, especially during this past year and a half, but you know, it goes beyond that. I've known Crystal for many years, and I have gotten to know Dr. Pearson here the last few years, and just wonderful examples of what it means to be authentic leaders. And so I just really appreciate all the collaboration that you have shown the Chamber and our business community. Well, I appreciate you both taking some time out to talk to us a little bit about your experiences and share. And just want to remind folks that we are now accepting nominations for the 2021 ATHENA Leadership Award. That application or the nomination form can be found on our website at triangleeastchamber.com. It is open to anyone across the county. So please take some time to review that application and consider those leaders in your community that meet those requirements of that are outlined in the criteria there. So again, thank you both for joining us today. Thank you, Deanna, for leading our conversation. Appreciate it very much.
Kelly, can I just say thank you so much? I'm so honored. I'm honored to sit next to Dr. Pearson and all of my fellow Sister ATHENA recipients. Melissa, Deanna, thank you so very much. And you know, I made that quip about being the oldest rat in the barn, but I'll never stop learning. And I've learned so much this morning from my friend, Dr. Pearson, and, you know, just having this conversation. So thank you. And to everyone, keep learning.
I echo the same. Thank you, Crystal.